in chat. I ran into some technical difficulties with my morning stream. Anyway, just sharing what I'm learning here in Austin. Again, this is RovoCon here in Austin, Texas. I've never been to this particular place, so I'm glad I could come. Rovo is Atlassian's AI tool. Now, Atlassian makes work software where you would track the work you do in something like Jira, in tickets, and track your knowledge in a knowledge base like Confluence. But it does a lot more than that. But Rovo is their AI tool. It hooks into these different systems and helps us find things. And RovoCon is a series of one-day conferences where they're bringing people together to learn how to use these tools. This for me is really important because this technology is really new, right? Like commercial use of LLM AI, or what we think of when we think of AI, is only a few years old. And this means people are, scrambling and struggling for ways to find it. So coming together to talk about it is really valuable. And even what I mentioned there, that AI is new, is causing confusion and misunderstanding on how it works. So when we think of AI, that could mean one of many things. Artificial intelligence could be defined as our LLMs, our generative AI. ChatGPT making content for me, or Nano Banana making pictures, or Rovo helping me find the work that I'm responsible for. But Rovo itself is a specific tool. So when we think of AI in the context of Atlassian products, that includes Rovo, but it's not only Rovo. There's other things that help us out. So I'm trying and I'm learning to be better about using the right term when I'm talking about a feature or something. For example, agentic AI is Rovo, and chat would be Rovo, but search might be different. So we need just to consider what we're actually using, and then to be careful when we discuss with others. Like I did a Rovo Games, which is a quiz show I do with my friend Sajid, and we stumped a lot of people on what happens if you turn off AI in Atlassian. Well, you can't use agentic AI and you can't use chat, but you can use search. It's defined differently. So that's one thing I'm realizing here, is the basic underlying definitions need to be spoken about. I've also had a lot of great discussions with folks. Some are joking. What do you think the Rovo logo looks like? To me, it looks like two socks. If you quickly Google Atlassian Rovo logo, you'll know what I'm talking about. It looks like two socks laying down next to each other. But then also great in-depth discussions over how do we help organizations adopt Rovo? You have this brand new tool. How do you help someone use it? How do you define a metric that will tell you you're being successful? And this ties into using any system pretty much, where you have to understand, what do you want to do? Do you want to increase the time or decrease the time it takes to resolve tickets? Do you want to help your programmers write more code faster? Do you want to have less searches happen in your knowledge base because people can find things more quickly? So before we even consider using a tool like Rovo, this really more advanced AI tool, we have to consider what are we trying to do, and then how can we support that? And for me, this is a good reminder that it doesn't matter what system you're using, you have to answer those questions first. If you just jump in and use Rovo or Claude or Gemini or any of these other tools without understanding what you're trying to change and how you want to change it, it's going to be hard to know if you're doing it right. And you will probably end up doing something you didn't intend. You will end up going down a path you might find useful, but it won't really do what you need. And this is true of anything. So that's something I'm learning to keep in mind. I did also have a friend here named Kythra. She's an amazing technical writer, but she was reading a prompt Atlassian gave us. So Atlassian, the company that makes Rovo, gave us a bunch of these built out agents. So what to type in to go build your agent. And it was kind of confusing her, and she sat down and thought about it. And she's like, oh, I have another framework that makes sense for me. I play a lot of fantasy games or Dungeons and Dragons or things like that. And because that is what she's familiar with, she was able to then use that concept to understand the agent. And so my lesson there is these are technical things that can be challenging for people to approach. But if we can take some time to understand an analogy or something else they do that is similar to the agent, we can then help them understand it much more effectively. So from my perspective, and as an admin or as someone in enablement or training, I'm going to start looking for more ways I can help folks start to understand different ways of thinking about these systems and how I can tie it to what they already know, because it is new. It can be intimidating. How do I take something they already know and then make something like Rovo or an AI tool more approachable? So that was a great learning, and Kythra just mentioned that just came up because that's what she discovered. So this is my recap for the day. I'm gonna have some more recorded content from it here. I had a great chat with a couple of Atlassian people who work at Atlassian who work directly with customers on building out Rovo agents. And I was really curious because Adam was this individual, has a lot of experience working with different customers in different use cases. And this to me is fascinating because my own perspective using Rovo on my own is much different than a big company that has 10,000 people and different problems. And I'm kind of jealous that Adam gets to interact with all these different groups and approach it so many different ways. But be on the lookout for a follow-up interview. We went on for about 10 minutes talking about Rovo, mostly on the serious side, but some jokes like, what's one skill, what's one action you wish Rovo could take? Oh, order a pizza or do something else. But it was good insight from someone who uses Rovo on a daily basis and to a very deep level across a wide range of topics. Something, again, that I can't get because I'm just a solo creator. That's why I like coming to these things. I meet folks like Adam, or I get to see Kythra and just share this knowledge and information. So this is going to be it from Austin at RovoCon. Check out the links for more. I'm going to have a lot more content. I will include snippets from the Rovo games. Again, this is an interactive quiz show that my friend Sujit and I put on. It's intended to help folks learn about Rovo in a fun, friendly way. So think like fastest finger challenge, answering questions on how Rovo works or basic concepts under it. Again, this is a new technology. So as it's deployed, we want to make sure people understand some basics around who can access it, what kind of controls we have. And that can be, book learning, sit down and read it, or it could also be a fun quiz. One parting thought too is just around companies adopting AI in general, specifically Rovo, but every organization is going to make their own determination, is this a good tool for me or not? And there will be some things we can do to discuss that with our information security or compliance teams, and some things we won't be able to do. For example, if the tool doesn't have HIPAA compliance, we can't use it in certain environments. If it isn't government certified, we can't use it in others. So as someone who is wanting to use Rovo, if you're running into that friction, I'll encourage you to understand why your compliance or information security team or whoever said no, and then go research. It's possible they don't have enough information, but it's also possible the tool isn't quite there yet. These things are not magic. They've only been around for 3 years. And even though Atlassian's Rovo, the AI tool, seems really sophisticated and has a lot of great stuff, it's still being built out. Talking to Adam, one of the Atlassians here, I thought back to when the internet first became a thing. How did companies adopt it? What mistakes did they make because they didn't understand the technology? And then also, we have people who are using things like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and Nano Banana and all these other different, those are the only 4 that come to mind, all these other different AI tools in a personal way. I'm using it to make funny pictures for my kid, or I'm using it to write a story or do something else. That use case is so much different from the corporate use case. So with a tool like Rovo that is built in a corporate setting, like Jira and Confluence, and these tools are mainly used by big companies, how do we approach taking people's experience on the consumer side, using it for something fun or school or something, and translate that into a business thing where we have these hard requirements around compliance, around where my data is stored, around who can access it and when and how. So I'm very curious to see how companies start to balance that and how our general understanding of these tools evolve over time. But that's all I have today from RovoCon here in Austin. This will probably be the last one I get to go to. If they do this series again, I don't know if they will. I'd love to go to more. There's one coming up in Orlando, I believe, and they have Sydney, Australia, and Amsterdam, I think is the last one. I'll put some links down in the comments, though, for follow-up videos that I'll be doing for general resources on Rovo and AI. But I'm really curious what all of you think. Do you use Rovo? Do you even know what it is? Do you use AI? What for? And what kind of friction and interesting things are you learning about it? Again, it's brand new. And so we got to be sharing with each other what we're seeing and experiencing so we can all improve together. So thank you all so much for jumping in and joining me. I've really enjoyed getting to come out here and share a little bit about what I learned, but please keep letting me know what you want to learn. I have more content planned going forward, but I'm really reliant on your feedback to know where I should go, who I should talk to, what I should learn for you. Be on the lookout too for an interview I did with a product manager over on the Rovo side for Create with Rovo. And on March 19th, I'm doing a live session where we will be using Rovo together. If you sign up by March 13th, you will get a free instance, a free copy of Jira and Confluence that has Rovo that you can play with for 90 days. So definitely sign up for that. I'll put a link below in about 10 or 15 minutes when I get back downstairs to my desk. And also, if you're going to team the Atlassian conference in May, this is the big 4-day event, 3-day event, let me know if you need help paying for it. I have some discount codes that'll take 20% off the price. I can't put it in the description though. They've asked me only to tell people directly. So comment at me, find me on LinkedIn, I'll put my information below, and I'll be happy to share with you a discount code for access to team. So that's it, folks. Thank you again. I really appreciate you all sticking around and learning with me, and I'll see you in one of these hopefully again soon. Cheers.